Well, hi there, and welcome to Ask Katie. This is my very first Ask Katie live on Facebook. So it's all very, very exciting, a little bit daunting as well. I'll tell you a little bit about me. I'm a trans ambassador, and my business is called Cool to be Trans. And so I'm on a mission really for two particular things. I'm on a mission to reach out to other trans people to let them know that it's okay to be trans, because it really is okay to be trans. And then the other thing I want to do is to help educate the general public about trans issues, just so that there's more acceptance, because I think there's a fair bit of bigotry and this out still. And there's a lot of that out there, and I think it's all about education. So I think the more education there is, the more acceptance there will be, and the more acceptance there will be, the easier it will be for other trans people to let them know that it's okay to be trans, and that they can accept it themselves, because that really is the hardest thing, accepting it yourself. Normally when I do my question and answer sessions, I do that a lot when I do my trans awareness training sessions and public speaking, and so I'm really used to that. Normally when I do that, I just sort of say that you can ask me anything, absolutely anything, no holds barred. Oh, morning, Essie. I see you turned up. Hi there. It was lovely to speak to you yesterday. So normally I just say you can ask me absolutely anything. Oh, Juanita's on as well. Hi, I've been watching you all week, so it's not your turn to watch me. But I think in this session, I think I've got to put a few ground rules on. Oh, hi, Romano. Great to talk to you this week as well. I've been talking to so many friends this week. And so I think I need just to put a few ground rules in, because it's Facebook, and that it can attract trolls because people can have fake IDs on Facebook and whatever. So basically, rather than asking absolutely anything, I want to keep it educational if I can. I want to if somebody's sort of coming on, that's got very anti-trans views and looking for an argument, this isn't really the place for it. So I don't really want to get into that. I just want to keep it educational. And then the other thing is that this isn't really the place to go for, to ask me sort of personal medical questions, because although I am very public, I couldn't be more out if I tried, let's face it. I do need some privacy, so I appreciate you respecting that. So, Rachel's on as well. It's great to speak to you briefly just now as well. If I end up getting more questions than I can cope with now, then I think probably what I'll end up doing is just doing another session rather than just doing lots of written replies. Is probably the best thing. So really, this session relies on your questions, because if there's no questions that come in, it's going to be a very short live, and I'm going to be sitting here like a right lemon. So I would rather have a lemon-free zone. So can I have a question, please? Anybody got any questions coming up? There's absolutely nothing. I'm just going to be waffling on, aren't I? And then I'll just hit end. We've got no questions. A few people have just sent me messages which came right up on the screen, which threw me just now. So I don't know what's going on there now. So, hang on. Have we got? Oh, hang on. We've got some more people saying hello. I just realised I can scroll down here. I'm a bit new to this. This is only the third Facebook Live that I've done, actually. So, it's so you have to bear with me with this. What have we got? Oh, Anna's saying hi as well. Hi, Anna. You're right. And Andrea as well. And Abby. Oh, yeah, it's all good. I'm glad I've got some friends with me as well. That's great. Oh, here we go. Oh, Anna's come up with one. Said, my daughter would like to understand if your sexual preference changes too. That's a really good question, Anna's daughter. Basically, there's a lot of people get mixed up about this, and I know when I came out, a lot of people were sort of assuming, because I've always been attracted to women, and a lot of people were assuming that because I was changing to female, that I would then change my sexuality, whereas that's not actually the case. So in my case, I've always been attracted to women. I'm still attracted to women. That's been one constant in my life. So all that's happened is that the label's changed. So previously I was labelled as a heterosexual man. Now I'm labelled as a lesbian. Well, I didn't choose the labels. I'm completely comfortable with them, but it feels absolutely natural, and it's just it just feels right. So nothing's changed. So there's three things that a lot of people get mixed up with. So the sex, the sexuality, and gender, and they're three completely separate entities, and they're not linked at all. So sex is basically what's between your legs, and so it relates to your physical sex characteristics. Gender is how you feel in your head and your heart, and you just know who you are. Okay, so that's that, and for most people, for about 99% of the population, they're very lucky in that coincides, and I envy them, to be honest. But for about 1% of the population, which is not to be sniffed at, and if we've got a population of about 66 million, you're talking 660,000 people. It's a lot of people. There's a lot of us out there. So for 1% of the population, these don't coincide, and it causes a lot of anguish and heartache. It's awful. So that's gender, and then sexuality is who you're attracted to. So who you are has nothing to do with who you're attracted to. Completely separate, and they're not linked at all. Now, sexuality can change. I do know people where it has, and I think it is more fluid than a lot of people think. But I think on average labels are overrated. So, but anyway, I hope that answers the question, Anna's daughter. So who have we got here? What else have we got? Romano. Oh, hang on, no, I've missed one here. Here we go. We've got. Oh right. Oh, Anna said she's 6. She's 13 and was scared to ask. Oh no, can't get. Oh right, so can't get whether I'm gay or lesbian. Yeah, no, well I class myself as a lesbian, so or as gay woman, that's all. Yeah, so that's fine. I don't mind you asking at all. So Sasha, what is it? Oh, I've just answered your question, Sasha. There you go. And then Romano, do you have any regrets having gone about your transitioning? No, I've got absolutely no regrets at all. Yeah, I suppose the only regrets I've got is the fact that it has hurt my family, really, and I've lost quite a bit of my family because of it. I've lost some friends for it as well, although most friends have stuck with me. And the thing is that the friends that I've lost, they weren't really my real friends anyway, were they? So it's a really effective way of finding out who your true friends are. It's quite an extreme way, but it's effective, certainly. But no regrets. I mean, blimey, I've been living full time as female now for a year and a half. It was the 2nd of September 2018 when I first started living full time as Katie. And there's not been a single day that I've got up in the morning and thought, oh, I'll pretend to be Martin again. Not a single day. It just feels so right. And I've lost count of the number of people who've told me that I look so much happier now. And I am, because it's the real me. This is it. And I think what a lot of people don't realise, that I'm exactly the same person. I've got exactly the same skills, the same experience, the same sense of integrity, the same sense of humour, however warped that may be. I'm exactly the same person, but far happier. I also have cravings for chocolate now as well, but it's a girl thing. Anyway, so what have we got here? Well, oh, hi Susanna, hiya, you're right. So Anna, all right. Anna says, love how you just explained that is what's between your legs. Yeah, exactly. Sex is about what's between your legs. Gender is about what's between your ears. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Sasha said, can sexuality change with transition from what you understood from talking to many? It can do. Although often it can bring out a latent thing. I think some people might, who previously thought themselves to be heterosexual, sometimes come out as being bi or pan, or sometimes it can change over. But for most people that I've spoken to, their sexuality has stayed the same, and so I've got to be open to it. I'm certainly, mine hasn't, and I'm still attracted to women. But yeah, it's say it can change, but I think the thing is just to not be too hung up about it, and be open to it if it does. So hi Evie, you got on, well done. Lindsay, sorry I'm late. It's okay, no problem. Have you bought a note, Lindsay? Oh, Evie, your connection's bad. Well, I'm hoping my connection stays. Otherwise, it'll be a bit of a disaster. Yeah, nice to see you too, Evie. Yeah. So, have we got? Oh, have we got any other questions? Oh, this is going to be a short session, otherwise, isn't it? So do that. It's technology. It's getting better than me. Come on, I need some more questions, guys. Otherwise, I'm going to dry up. No, I'm not going to dry up. You know me. I can talk for England. I'll tell you a little bit about my journey. So I'm a photographer and filmmaker. That's what I've been doing for the last 33 years, and I've been running my photography business for 24 years. But when I came out as being trans, I had a real dilemma because my photography and video business was and still is named after my old male name, which is Martin. So it's called Martin Neves Photography and Film. But because it had been an established brand for 22 years, I didn't want to change the name because I thought it would be starting from scratch again, and it would be. I had a lot of reviews, great reviews and everything, and so I just thought it was too risky. I thought nobody would know who I was. So that's why I decided to keep the name the same, but then to come out so publicly. And so that's why I've done it. And that's why I've come out so publicly. So I made a coming out video and put it on almost social media and everything. And I was so worried, but it was amazing that I ended up with so many messages of support. And that's what started me on this road to being a trans ambassador, because it got picked up in the local media, and then it went to the national media and started doing radio and television and all sorts of stuff like that. So, and I ended up at as the gobby trans woman that sits before you now. Oh, hang on, we've got a few questions coming in now. Here we go. Oh, if I can get to it. Oh, come on, this is going well, isn't it? Oh, here we go. Essie says, what are the questions that people ask when delivering training? Well, actually, I've already covered one of the big ones to say about sex and sexuality and gender. That's a big one. It's a very, very common one. Another thing, actually, that a lot of people don't know, when I do my trans awareness training, one of the things I do is I go through a load of the different definitions, and because there's lots of terminology and phrases that's used in the trans world that aren't used outside of that, and so a lot of people don't know them. So I explain them, and one of the ones that key ones that most people don't know is the word cisgender, or it's often shortened to cis, and all that is somebody who's not trans. So that's it. But it's much better to call them a cisgender woman or a cisgender man, or a cis woman or a cis man, rather than use the words things like normal or biological or real. I mean, because that implies that trans people aren't normal, biological, or real. So I think it's a good thing to have in your mind that's the best word to use. Right, so what we've got here, so we've got one from Ash. So a lot of the time with people coming out after starting transitioning, it's not that their sexuality has changed as much as they're more in tune with themselves. Yeah, that's right, yeah. And how they feel. Like if someone, trans or not, doesn't come out as gay until later. Oh, hang on, I've got to see more. Hang on. It's a long one here. Later in life, don't usually say their sexuality has changed, just they realise it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, really good point, Ash. Yeah, absolutely. And I said, sorry, I know it's not a question. Just thought I'd drop my thoughts and say that one. Hello, Katie. Yeah, hi, Ash. Yeah. Hope your isolation is going well. Yes, I know. Well, you too. Yeah. Yes, it's a strange time at the moment, isn't it? But at least it means I've got a captive audience. Unless you've all gone out in the sunshine, you might be. Yeah, let's have a look. Okay, so Evie says, very brave to tell it all in a live stream. Either brave or stupid, Evie, one or the other. But I just thought, what the hell, I just thought, yeah, if it goes badly, there's always the delete button. So that gives me comfort. Hopefully I won't need it anyway. So I'm living life on the edge. So, okay, here we go. So Andrea, so hi Katie, you said your family has suffered, but I know you still have a good relationship with your daughter. Yeah, which is great. Have you dealt with explaining your journey? Right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, with family, with my daughter, I don't really want to go too much onto the family side of that in a live, to be honest. But generally, I can talk generally. With the children under the age of 10 usually cope with it a lot better than over the age of 10. My daughter's under 10, and she has coped with it very well. And I think if you can explain to them over that one, they are going to have issues. Whatever age they are going to have issues. But often over the age of 10, they're going to have a lot more issues. But kids are brilliant. Kids are better than adults, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, kids have just got it. You know, you explain to them, and they just, oh yeah, okay. You just tell them what it is, and oh right, okay, that's it. And then it's, oh, what's for tea then? they're brilliant. It's us adults. We're the ones that are screwed up. I tell you, really. So it's definitely the adults and the older people, particularly. They're the ones that need more educating than the younger ones. So yeah, kids are a lot more resilient than we give them credit to. So here we go. What else? So Sasha says, why did you transition when you did? Yeah, a very good question. Yeah, well, I was 48 when I finally admitted to myself I was trans, and it's one of those things that I've always had gender dysphoria, which is a mismatch between how you feel in your head and your heart, i.e. your gender identity, and your sex characteristics, i.e. the label that I was given at birth. But the gender dysphoria was, gender dysphoria is one of those things. It causes a lot of pain. It's awful, but different people feel it at different strengths at different times of their life, and it's one of those things that can change over time and very often increases over time. But in my earlier years, it was at a low enough level that it was contained just by cross-dressing. So I thought I was a cross-dresser for many years, though it was many years before I actually accepted that I was. But why I actually did it when I was 48, I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether it was a midlife crisis or what it was, but it was. I mean, there's a whole journey that I went on, which I'm not going to go into here because it's a bit too long to go into. But there's a whole journey that I went on, and to realise it. But there was a period that it was in sort of late October, early November 2017, when I just went into complete turmoil. I didn't know. I didn't know what gender I was at all. I was in absolute hell. It was just awful. And then I went on this whole journey, and it was on the 11th of January 2018. That's when I finally admitted to myself that I'm a trans woman and I need to change my body. So yeah, that was when I did. Why I did, I mean, I suppose it was, I was just ready to accept it then. I don't know, but I didn't want to accept it. I didn't want to be trans. No one wants to be trans. I mean, no one chooses to be trans. I mean, God, I mean, you have to, well, nobody does. I mean, it's such a hard journey. So you definitely don't want to, nobody chooses to be trans, but so you just have to make the best of it. And I just think, well, the best thing to do was just to go for it and just to own it. So this is me owning it. So, Evie, I look very beautiful. Oh, thank you very much. That's nice of you. Thank you, Rachel. What has been an amazing experience that unexpectedly sticks in your mind more than others? I think actually the most amazing experience actually was the response to my coming out video, because it's something that I was so frightened of. I was so worried about coming out, and when I came out, and I remember vividly my finger hovering over the mouse, knowing that as soon as I made that click to make the video live on Facebook, that my life would never be the same again, and everything was riding on it. My whole livelihood, my reputation, everything was resting on that, and so I was so worried. But it went from being something that I was so worried about to being one of the most uplifting experiences of my life, second only to the birth of my daughter. I mean, it was just absolutely amazing. It was incredible. I just felt so loved because there was so much support there. So I think that will stick with me forever. And it's something that a lot of people worry about coming out. And I think often fear of doing something is worse than actually doing it. And I certainly found that with coming out. It was, yeah, just incredible. I spent also actually that when I first started living as Katie, and remember when I first went out on jobs as Katie, I was doing, going out on a photography job, and then the first time I wore a dress on a job, I was so worried, how would people react? Because I'm still conscious about my voice, and the fact that my voice is still quite deep, It's got a bit higher than it was, but it's still, fairly deep. So I was worried about that, and I haven't had any problems at all. It's been great. I've been so well accepted. It's been fantastic. But I think a lot of that is down to the way, I think what you put out comes back at you. So if you sort of put yourself out there as being confident, then that comes back at you. It puts people at ease. And so, whereas if you go around sort of looking over your shoulder thinking, well, have I got any funny looks today? Yeah, what's happening here? Then you sort of make yourself a victim, really. So I think even if you're absolutely bricking it, you just go for it. You own it, head up high, and, just go for it. Yeah. So, right. What else we got? So Anna, where would someone go for advice and help if they aren't happy with their current gender? Yeah, good question. Yeah. Right. There's lots of places. There are actually loads of support groups on Facebook. Facebook is absolutely brilliant for this. I think with whatever you've got, I think Facebook's good for this sort of thing. And I certainly, I join lots of different groups. Some are better than others, but you just join a whole load and see which ones suit you. And I find then you can get support from other trans people, and then they help you through it. And I certainly did, and I've certainly and still do help a lot of trans people. A lot of trans people contact me because I'm quite public. Understatement, because I'm quite public. A lot of trans people sort of contact me, and I just give them a bit of support, and it's great actually. You just give them a little bit of support, and then you see them blossom, and then they come into their own, and it's great, and then they're on their way, and it's great, and it's really lovely to see. So I'd say Facebook is a really good one, but there's lots of other places. There's a charity called Mermaids, which is excellent, and that's for trans children and their families. Really brilliant charity. So for any trans children or their families, that's definitely the place to go. And then obviously if you get to the stage where you feel that you actually want to explore it further and you want to do something about it, then the first stage is actually to go to your GP. Now, GPs are a bit of a lottery. I can see for all the trans people that are watching this now, they're probably rolling their eyes at this moment and go, GPs, yeah. Now, I was really, really lucky. My GP is lovely. She was absolutely brilliant. But I've heard so many horror stories about GPs because the level of education for trans healthcare with GPs is appalling. It's absolutely appalling. Most of them haven't been trained in it at all, and they just don't know, and they haven't got a clue. And I mean, when I went, and so many end up refusing to help trans people. It's really terrible, the state of trans healthcare in the UK, to be honest. But when I came out and I went to my GP, because I'd been lucky, I'd been very healthy. I didn't really know my GPs that well. I just knew them, but not particularly well. I didn't know, not well enough to gauge who would be okay with receiving this news and helping me. And so what I did, I just booked an appointment and asked for an appointment with a female GP because I just felt more comfortable talking to women about it than I did to men. So I just asked for a female GP, and just potluck, the one that I got was absolutely lovely. She couldn't have been better. And she admitted to herself that she didn't know anything about trans healthcare, but I expected that. So I went there armed with with a load of printouts that I got from the NHS website and from other websites. There are lots of others that are out there, and so I went there with this whole wad of paperwork and just gave them to her. So there you go, there's some bedtime reading for you. And she was really grateful, and she was great. And then she's since gone on training courses herself, and she's been absolutely fantastic. She really has. So much so, I mean, obviously not now at the moment while the coronavirus is about, but she was, whenever she saw me, she'd give me a hug and everything. She's great, absolutely great, so supportive. But then anyway, so the GP should then refer you to a gender clinic. Now there's another story. And now I can see all the other trans people rolling their eyes again when I mentioned gender clinics, because the NHS state that for gender clinics, the waiting list, maximum waiting list should be 18 weeks. However, I was referred to my NHS gender clinic over 2 years ago, and there's still no sign of my first appointment. And mine was supposed to have been the fastest one in the country at the time. It's since slowed down a lot, um, you know, most people end up waiting between 2 and 4 years just to get a first appointment, and then you don't get on HRT, on hormones. Then, so you then have to have another appointment, and often another one before you actually get onto them. So it's an awful long wait. It's a very painful wait. It's really cruel. I was very fortunate. I was in a position that I was able to pay for private treatment. So actually, I went to a private gender clinic. There's actually a long waiting list for private gender clinics, but again, I was lucky because I was self-employed. I was able to accept a last-minute cancellation appointment, and that's how I got treated so quickly. So I've been on HRT for just under 2 years now. But I am one of the lucky ones, and I do appreciate how fortunate I am. But yeah, trans healthcare in the UK is absolutely broken, and it needs to be changed urgently. It really does. So right, okay, let's have a look. What else have we got? So Rachel, you've just tuned in. Oh, hi Rachel. That's right, you can watch it back. It's okay. I'm not going to repeat myself. I'm waffling anyway, so don't worry. Yeah, Ash. So kids are normally brilliant. Both my little sisters have been so good. Yeah, they are. Kids are great. That's it. I'm always the first ones to tell off the adults when they do. They do. Kids are brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, we can learn a lot from kids. Romano. Generally, do you have any advice for dealing with problematic family members that pretend to try? You could hire a hitman. That was a joke. Oops, I shouldn't have put that out there, should I? Oh God, dealing with problematic members of the family. It's very difficult. I mean, as you know, Romano, I've lost my sister through it. My sister's very religious. She's a very evangelical, born-again Christian, and she just doesn't want to know me. It's very sad because we were very close when we were kids, and we were less close. When she got very religious, she didn't want to know so much of her rest of the family, so it doesn't feel as much of a loss as it would have been otherwise, but it still is because she's still my sister. I don't know whether she'll ever come around or not. I doubt it. My mum has been a bit of a problem. She's religious, but she's just the older generation. She's 83, and her partner's very religious as well, and he's given me a lot of grief as well. It's very difficult. I think time. I suppose what we have to appreciate is that it's not just us, that we're not the only ones that are in transition and on a journey. Our friends and family are as well. So I think we have to be mindful of that and give them the space and give them the time. I mean, what I've said all the way along is that if friends and family misgender me or get it wrong occasionally, then that's not a problem, because as long as they are supportive. If they're not supportive and then they deliberately misgender you and call you by your old name, then that's not right. That's not good. But if they genuinely try, but then just slip up, then that's not a problem at all. I just think, well, you've got to cut them a bit of slack, because it takes time for them to adjust. And like with my mum, my mum knew me for 48 years as Martin before being Katie, and I mean, she hasn't really called me Katie at all, and I don't think she will now, because she's got dementia now, unfortunately. So now the dementia has taken over, and so now I've just got to accept, and I think I have accepted now, that she will never call me Katie. I'll always be her son, and I'll always be Martin to her. So it is what it is. Family are the most difficult. I found friends were certainly a lot easier, and certainly colleagues have been great. I've lost some clients through it though, but then again, do I want to work with people like that? No, I don't. I want to work for nice people who accept me for who I am, and that can see that I'm happy, and I could, people do their best work when they're happy, and I'm happy. So there we go. Right. So what else have we got here? Evie, are you listening to Trans Radio? Yeah. That's good plug for Trans Radio UK. Yeah, Trans Radio UK, brilliant. It's an internet radio station made by trans people for trans people. And I think I mean Michelle and Moorhead is absolutely brilliant. She's such a character, absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I do tune in occasionally. I probably don't listen to it as often as I should. Um, but yeah, no, but there's some great presenters on there, and no, it's really good, and you get lots of support that way. It's a good crowd. Yeah. So, right, what else have we got here? So, Lindsay says, do you find that younger age groups in general have a better understanding and are more accepting of transition? I'm thinking particularly the difference between the 20-somethings and those over 40s. Yeah, generally, the younger they are, the less of a big deal it is. Um, yeah. The younger, between sort of 20 and 40, the younger kids, they just sort of get it. You just tell them they might not understand it straight away, but as soon as you explain it to them, they're fine and they go on their way. But then between 20s and 40s, yeah, they're generally very good, and they just think, well, what's the big deal? Whereas I think, it's sort of over that. Yeah, it's much more of a big deal, and you have to put in more of an effort to explain it. But usually, once you've explained it, it's fine. I mean, some people, aren't going to get it. There's a group of people out there who don't get it and are not going to get it and are never going to get it. Well, you're not going to be able to change everyone's mind. I mean, all I can do is just sort of chip away at this as best I can and just do my little bit, whatever I can. So here we go. So Abby, with the virus all around the world, it's going to change people's feelings about people. Plus, about possibly. Yeah, I think maybe that might be one of the good things about this awful virus that's around at the moment. That people are being kinder to each other and realizing that actually there are bigger things out there, and that actually it's good to be nice to people and just accept people for who they are. So well, hopefully that will be one of the good things that comes out of it. Hope so. You're so funny. I really like your laugh. I can't help it. It's my laugh. Essie, so can you talk a little about children who feel they're in the wrong gender? Sorry, not 100% formulated question. Yeah. It's just one of those things that you just know, just know. And I mean, I've got friends who've got trans children. There's one in particular that springs to mind, and she's about 6 or 7 now. But when I first knew her, she was about 4 or 5, and it's amazing. You could just see how much happier she is as a little girl now. And before, as a boy, she wasn't happy. She was, it was just really sort of in herself and in her shell. She wouldn't come out. But now she's just happy, and she's just a normal little girl, just really happy. She's great, and her parents are brilliant. And it's all down to the parents, but it's about the support that the parents give. But also with parents as well, a lot of parents struggle with this, and a lot of parents actually make the situation worse. And I know now it's actually a particularly difficult time with this coronavirus, because kids can't get out now like they used to, and if they're stuck, with their indoors with their parents, and if their parents aren't being supportive, it's very difficult for them at the moment. So I do feel for them at the moment. But kids do know. You just, it's like if you think about your own gender, whoever you are, when did you first know? You don't need to look at your genitals to know how you are and how you feel. And I always felt, I much more identify more with girls, and and I envied my sister when I saw her growing up, and I sort of wanted to be like her, but I did in those days. It was back in the 70s, and it wasn't trans issues, it wasn't talked about then. So it was one of those things that I think now, because so many people are talking about it now, because gobby trans people like me are around, talking about it. There's more education, there's more programs on television about it, so more people will get to know about it, and I think hopefully they'll find it easier to accept. And in fact, more and more trans children are coming through. Well, in fact, more trans people generally are coming through. But we're seeing a lot of young people coming through. Definitely, it's just one of those things that I think they feel more able to do something about it. They feel more empowered. Whereas, certainly when I was a kid, that couldn't happen. And so you look back at. I mean, there were people who transitioned, you know, 30 years ago, and just think how much harder it was for them to do it than now. I mean, I came out 2 years ago, and it was hard, but it was a lot easier than it would have been, say, 5 years ago, and then go back, say, 30 years, nightmare. So here we go. So Romana says, I'm sure Katie will give her answer, but I went to the LGBT Foundation, and they were, exactly, there's lots of different places that you can go for help, absolutely. And if anybody wants to contact me about any of that, then feel free to. Evie, you're a nice, sweet person. That's what you are. Oh, that's nice. The most important thing is that you're feeling good with you, and you're feeling good now. So that's what matters. Absolutely, and I do feel good. It's just, and that's the thing. It's living your truth feels absolutely amazing. And a lot of people talk about gender dysphoria, and I did, but not many people talk about gender euphoria, and it really does feel euphoric to live your truth, especially after 48 years. I mean, it feels amazing. It feels great. So I'm loving life as the real me and embracing it. So, Karen, you're a great ambassador. Oh, thank you, Karen. That's great. Thank you. That's nice. So, Frankie, how did you cope with the negative people? Okay. I mean, it depends on the negativity and who said it and what they mean to me. The negativity that's hurt the most has been from my family. That's definitely been the hardest to cope with, because obviously they're the closest to me. So they've been difficult. Negativity from friends, I haven't had a huge amount, but the ones that have basically have just gone out of my life, and they're not my friends anymore. So they weren't real friends. So that's, it is what it is. And the clients, the negative clients who I've lost, I've just lost those, and it hurt financially, but then it allowed me the space to be doing this and to launch Cool to Be Trans, and I'm absolutely loving doing this. So it's opened up that opportunity, and I'm just sort of just taking the bull by the horns and just going for it. So and in terms of negativity, I've had a bit. I've been very lucky, to be honest. Tend to not have any problems when I'm out and about. But generally, I had a load of abuse on Mumsnet. I had 300 messages of hate directed at me from a load of TERFs on Mumsnet. I'll explain the word TERFs for people that don't know. TERF stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminists. So there's a small but very vocal group of people called TERFs, and they're very anti-trans. They just got a real chip on their shoulder with trans people. And they go around giving us a lot of grief. It makes them feel better. But I had a load of messages of hate directed at me, but I didn't let it get to me. But having said that, I think I'm quite resilient. So I just didn't. I was actually quite proud of myself, but I just let it go over my head, and I didn't reply to any messages, and they just got bored in the end and went off to go and annoy somebody else. And I've had run-ins with them I did a live radio debate on Radio 5 Live last year, and they pitted me against the TERF. Some of the media, they have an agenda, and they like to create an argument, and they pit two people with opposing views, wind them up a bit, light the blue touch paper, and stand back and wait for the fireworks. And so that was interesting. That was an interesting one. Didn't particularly enjoy that that debate, but it was. I think I got the better of her in the end, but it just showed her up for the uncaring person that she was. So, there is negativity out there, but in the main, most people accept it. I mean, absolutely, and it's certainly TERFs are unrepresentative of the general population. The general population are absolutely brilliant, and that's been one of the biggest surprises, actually, that most people are fine with it. They're absolutely fine. So, Sarah, if you're comfortable sharing, have you ever had mental health issues related to your gender dysphoria? I'm happy to share that. No, I've been one of the lucky ones, Sarah. No, I haven't, but I know a lot of people do. So, gender dysphoria itself isn't classified as a mental illness. It actually, sadly, used to be, but then so did being homosexual. That used to be, and you think now that's unthinkable. But it was only actually last year when the World Health Authority then sort of declassified gender dysphoria as being a mental illness. So it's not at all. It's just who we are, you know. And some people might say I'm a bit unbalanced, but yeah, I don't know. but no, but the thing is, a lot of people with gender dysphoria do end up struggling with other mental health issues, but that often is caused by the pressure that's put on them by other people, or the pressure that they put on themselves by what they think other people are going to say about it. I think trans people put a lot of pressure on themselves there, and I think that's what I'm trying to do. One of the things I'm trying to do is to reach out to them, just to say, you know, don't put so much pressure on yourself. It really is okay. You can have a happy life as a trans person. You really can, you know. But yeah, a lot of people do have mental difficulties. So yeah, but I've been lucky. Yeah. So Jen's come on. So here we go. Oh, hang on, this is a long one. I'm going to scroll down it. What we've got. If someone says their pronouns are she or they, for example, same deal with he, they. Which should I use? I'm never sure it means actually use they, but they will tolerate she, or oh yeah, okay, or she is good, but I want to normalise they as being happy. What to do with them? What to do? Right, okay. I think if people sort of mix their pronouns and say they're happy with he and they, or she and they, then it means that they're not that hung up about it. My pronouns are she and her. That's what I prefer. So I would, but I suppose you can use they. When thinking about it, you can use they about anyone, you know, whatever gender they are. So it does actually work. I would say, yeah. So maybe the fact that if they actually say she and they, then I suppose that means that they would prefer she, but then happier with they. Yeah, I've never really thought about that before, because I always just say my pronouns are she and her. But yeah, you could still say they, and it wouldn't upset me. But yeah, good question, Jen. I've never thought about that. There we go. Right, here we go. Oh, they're coming now. So Rachel, personally, I can't name one. I'm friends with too many. I say I'll upset a long list. Okay, okay. Romano, most of my family are cool, but there are some who will say they try, who ask, yeah, they pay for Jesus camps for me. Oh yeah, Jesus camps. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's yeah. Conversion therapy is still legal in the UK. It's outrageous, absolutely outrageous, and does so much damage. It really does. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Awful. Sasha's come on now here. So, did you find that others you told had experience of trans close to them, but you never knew? I wonder who you could be referring to. That was a leading question, Sasha. Yeah, I did actually. Funny that. Yeah, there happened to be another trans person in the business group that I was with, and she's become one of my best friends. But we both knew each other when you know, in our male modes. But yeah, funny you should ask that, Sasha. I wonder who you're talking about. Right. So it's not gin, by the way. It's probably a bit early for that. Need to wait at least an hour. So okay, here we go. I'm glad I met you, and hopefully we can be friends. Also, we can't see each other in real life. Okay, okay. We've got Rachel's on as well. Hi, Rachel. Didn't see you there. Okay, and Sue looking good. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I got my power dress on this morning. Thought I'd really go for it. Rachel, no, they weren't, Katie. Okay. I don't like people who hate you. I don't like people who hate me either. Who does? I'll send the heavies round. Here we go. Oh, hang on. So it makes me mad when people are happy with who they are and other people judge them in not a good way. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think I just let people do their own thing. You know, if people want to hate, then it only screws them up, doesn't it? You know, ultimately, the only person who has control over who you feel is you yourself. You know, so the thing is just not to get to you, really. So they don't bother me at all. So no, I'm happy. Hang on. So what else? Susanna says, "I love that you own who you are." And that's thank you, and that's what matters the most. Yeah, I do. And if people problem with it, well, they can bog off, can't they? Okay. So, as Susanna says, it is really harmful to attend conversion therapy. Yeah, absolutely. I hope this will not be allowed to protect that. Yeah, absolutely, it is. Absolutely, it shouldn't be allowed. It shouldn't. Terrible. Fahima, love that dress. Oh, thank you. I do as well. That's why I work today. I thought my first Ask Katie Facebook Live. I thought, yeah, put the power dress on, make me feel good. That's good. Okay. Right, I think we've got to the end of the question. So unless anybody's else, blimey, we're going for 45 minutes. I've really been waffling on, haven't I? Blimey. So if anybody's got any questions, now is the time to do it. Otherwise, I'll bog off myself. I think we're probably about there. I've worn you out, haven't I? You're all flaked out. Okay, so it's nearly time for me to go and have a lie down in the dark corner and go for the gin. Sound like a right alky, don't I? Would you like me to do another question and answer session at some time? If so, then please leave a comment, and I will. I'll do it again. I've been quite pleased with how it's gone. We haven't had, luckily, we haven't had any turfs on. I was a bit worried that it was going to be a bit of a turf fest, and we'd have them all coming in, and it would want to do an argument. So they haven't been on. Thanks, Rachel. Yeah, thanks, Sarah, as well. Hi. Thanks ever so much. Oh, hang on, we got another one coming on. A trivial question, Lindsay. Okay. So why did I choose the name Katie? Yeah, a lot of people ask me that, because a lot of people say, why didn't I just put an E or an A on the end of Martin to make it Martine or Martina? Which I could have done. But Katie was the name that I would have been called if I'd been assigned female. I've always known that. So it's what the name that my mum and dad would have called me, and I like the name anyway. So that's why I chose Katie. So it was really my parents who chose it, even though my mum doesn't use it. But there you go. So here we go. Oh yeah, so we've got a few people saying they'd like to see more. Okay, so that means I think I'll do this again at some point by the looks of things. Oh, these things keep popping up. Oh, thanks, Sue. I'm glad you liked it. So, right, well, thanks ever so much for everybody. I think I better sign off now. Hang on, here we go. Oh, Rachel's, Michelle's come on. Michelle, where have you been? Hiya. That says. So, who's the best person? As a leading question. Yeah, I'm doing a series called Cool People, where I've been interviewing lots of people, lots of really cool people, because I've met so many fantastic people when I've been going out doing my trans awareness training and everything, and going to conferences. And so I've got lots of good people there. And Michelle's just asked me a very leading question. We had a great session when I interviewed her and Rachel. I haven't edited the video yet. It'll be out fairly soon. So there's one to come out before theirs. I think theirs is going to be a long one, because you think I can talk. Well, you wait till you hear them. They can talk for England. They can. But they're brilliant. Michelle, you know what was coming. Yeah, I did. I expected it. Okay. So a great bunch of people, and this last couple of weeks I've just been recording these Cool People sessions just back to back all week, and I've got another one I'm doing this afternoon as well. Some great people coming up. They're fascinating stories, they really are, so well worth watching, even if I do say so myself. Anyway, I think I better go now, because I really am waffling now. It's been 48 minutes, good grief. So thanks ever so much for watching. If you'd like to know any more about me, then please have a look at my website, which is cooltobetrans.co.uk. So that's cool, so that's COOL, then the number 2, the letter B, then trans, TRANS.co.uk. So thanks ever so much, and hope to see you again on another live. Okay, bye.